Good day, lords and ladies, and welcome back to Shadowrun Dragonfall. In the last episode, we cleared out the humanist police. Basically, they were like a fascist, purity, human race organization in the last mission. We still have to take out the laboratory, still have to talk to Amzel. We need to raise 50,000 credits. But first we need to talk to some people around town. Simi Kim waves her awkward dance through the scattered refuge. Her two thin legs wobble, but she keeps her footing throughout. The sun will come out tomorrow. Bet your bottom dollar that tomorrow there will be the sun. We could all use a little sundown here, you say. It's not literal sun, silly. It means tomorrow will be a better day. Monica used to say something like that. When I was tired, when I was sad, when I only wanted to sleep, she would tell me that. She would tell me I would forget, that the pain would go away. I've lived many lives, but I've been an orphan more times than anything. I was the first story I found when I needed to get away. Anybody ever try to get you off The Sims? Let's try that one. But I need them. Monica understood that, and Zach says they're safe. I don't know what I'd do without them. Without them, I dream. I don't want to dream. I don't want to remember. They help me forget. They help me be strong and smart, and I never lose anyone. That makes it a good thing, right? Can't run away from your problems forever. Better be strong and smart in the real world. Maybe someday you won't need them. Let's go with you can't run away from your problems forever. I know. So do you like it here in the bazaar? Kim turns her head so not to look you in the eyes. Her posture is that of someone who fears the possible of her cousin to answer. It's good. I get what I need from Zach, Flass, or Doc Isabel, and they let me pay wherever I can. Monica was always nice, and Paul Amzel, and the angel is always nice to me too, usually. I know Monica's gone now, but I can still stay, right? Of course you can stay, Kim. Thank you, oh thank you, I don't know what else I would do. Let's talk another time. Okay. Let's go and talk to her. Lucky Streak. Lucky Streak raises her eyebrows to approach, a burning cigarette dangling between fingers of her right hand. She holds a glass of scotch in her left. Black Knight, fancy seeing you again. Yeah, well, I was hoping that you'd want to chat. I was just passing through. It was bound to happen sooner or later. I live here, and I like to drink as much as the next lady. Of course you do. She raises her glass to salute. Now, what was there something you want to talk about? Been finding much work recently? Is the bartender here any good? Nope. It's called the Wine Killer for a reason. The guy behind the bar is more like a Bush League sommelier than he's a proper bartender. Knows a bit about wine, but when it comes to mixing drinks, he's useless. If you want to drink, I recommend sticking to something simple. Try ordering something with more than 2 ingredients, and you ask for trouble. You're a wine drinker then. Me? No, never developed a taste for it. She tilts a glass, swirling the amber liquor inside. I'm not a big fan of sweet things, never have been. Not even when I was a kid, always preferred smoke. If you don't like wine, why do you hang around out in a wine bar? Because it's usually empty in here and I don't like to be bothered, and hopeless as the bartender is, it's tough to mess up a scotch if you order it neat. Now, do you have another question? Have you been finding much work recently? Yeah, but the bazaar just isn't the best place to do it. There ain't a ton of jobs out here if you don't have the network. You don't have people in the bazaar? Nope, my crew is in MIT. There's a lot of work out there if you can handle it, but life isn't as pleasant there as it is in the bazaar. She gestures with her cigarette, the tip glowing red in the gloom. I mostly visit your lovely little Kaiser Keys between runs to restock and relax. It's a good place for that. Nice and slow pace it. She pauses for a moment to search for the word quaint. Don't suppose you'd be interested in taking a permanent position on my team? It's a nice enough place, but I don't know if that's the word I'd use. No, I would. Compared to most of Berlin, the bazaar is about as quaint as it gets. Hell, it's verging on bucolic with all the hand-holding and rooftop gardens. You found yourself a lovely picturesque little corner of Berlin, Black Knight. I guess I have to give your old boss some credit for it. got to run. See you around. See ya. Right. That's done. I do need to sell some stuff. Okay. Let's see what I can sell. I have 2 of them. Don't need 2 of them. Can keep that. Maybe I can give that to someone. Don't need nitro. Don't need bliss. I'm going to sell the drugs to raise a bit of extra funds. Right, what are we looking at? A-class drones. Okay. So what do we want to get? We have enough money to get a new drone. We can get a new deck. Well, I can't get a new deck, it's way out of my price range. That's really good armor. Vitchy tech savvy. +1 intense and decking would be really nice to have. But what I get, I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to grab a drone. Grab an A-class drone and skip the B-class completely. Another gun is always nice. This class holder supports a team with both medikit and custom grenades. No, I'm going to grab a gun drone. And what am I going to sell in return? I'm going to sell my old C-class drone. I don't need it. Okay. And we're going to grab that. Yeah, there we go, it's equipped. Excellent. Very nice. I do need, though, to buy a couple of consumables. Man, they're expensive. I'll grab a couple of level 1s because they're cheaper than level 2s. Actually, wait, that's 20 HP. That's 10. I'll grab 1 and 1 of that. And then, yeah, that's okay for now. Let's go and talk to some people. She looks up from her comm, idly blowing gum bubble and quickly popping it. Hello again, I hear you've been busy. Gossip travels fast, doesn't it? Aren't you a bit young to be a spy? What exactly did you hear about me? Let's go, gossip travels fast, doesn't it? It's not gossip, it's work. Survival, really. Aren't there child labour laws around here? Kamai puffs up indignantly and you realise how young she must really be. She couldn't be out of her teens yet. And what does that mean? Chill, I only meant it that it can be a hard life for a kid. If you're really gathering intel, you need some street smarts. You're still wet behind the ears. Well, it's just that there's probably some stories that are hard to hear at your age. Let's go this one. Well, it's just that there's probably some stories that are hard to hear at your age. She glances away furtively, apparently remembering something before being back. You'll be surprised what I've seen, even before I started being an intel hound. I can handle it, otherwise Alta wouldn't trust me to do it. Speaking of which, would you probably get back to work? Let me know if you have something fun going on, Dr. She lazily tips her invisible hat to you before returning to the camera on her watch. Ah, there's more people in here. Interesting. Le Duria. So you're Black Knight, the late Monica Scarfare's replacement. He looks you up and down and nods. Good. You look the part. Let me get right down to business. My organisation would like to retain your services for the indefinite future, but first we'd like to ask you to do our trial run, an audition of sorts to provide you're the right woman for the job. Assuming that you complete this trial to our satisfaction, I will then offer you a variety of simple tasks. All of these should be achievable in the course of your everyday business. We won't need to go out of your way or expose yourself to much unnecessary risk. For each task you complete, you'll be rewarded handsomely, and there will be a bonus if you finish them all. So, do I pique your interest? Will you accept our offer? Who do you work for, and how do you know where to find me? My organisation knows everything worth knowing in Berlin, Germany, including the small pond that is Berlin. It is our best interest, however, to remain unknown to the world at large. For the time being, that is all we need to know. What does this audition pay? I can offer you 1,500 new yen, but only if you complete the full audition and post-run interview to our satisfaction. If you fail to perform up to our expectations, we will receive no pay and no further offers of work. That isn't much. It's an audition, perhaps. The purpose of this trial is for you to prove your worth to us, not the other way around. Of course, you're free to decline if you wish, but know that there will be hundreds of runners in Berlin who would kill for the opportunity to work with us. We came to you because we think you see a glimmer of potential. If you prove us wrong, we will happily take the offer elsewhere. So, I'm in. Good, he smiles. Very good. Now, on to the task at hand. There's a man named Al Sear. He's a senior manager at the Hermes Eurocom, a respected figure in his community. My organisation also suspects him of working for pro-corporate extremists. Excuse me a second, folks. Sorry about that. My organisation expects him working for pro-corporate extremists. These people are actively working to undermine the flux state and pave their way for a corporate-controlled Berlin. My organisation has no more desire to see Berlin fall to the corporation than you do. However, we are hesitant to act on our suspicions without proof. This is where you come in. Keep talking. You want me to beat the proof out of him? So you want me to spy on him then? Not directly, no, but we do need to place him under surveillance. You will meet with a team that I've arranged for you, and with their assistance you will plant listening devices in his apartment. Take the U-Bahn to Frankfurt Tor or go alone. The rest of your team will meet you there. Hang on, I already have a team. I don't do runs with strangers, it's too risky. Very pragmatic, but just this once, you're asking you to make an exception. This job will require a very specific skill set. Your current team does not possess these skills. The one that I have assembled does. So, will you work with the boundaries that I have described, or will you turn down the opportunity that your fellow runners would kill for? I'll work with your team. Very good. The moment you board the train to Frankfurt Tor, your test will begin. I would advise you to begin with to bring what you need in terms of medical supplies and ordnance. Once you embark on the trial run, there will be no turning back. After you have planted the device and verified that they work, come back to me. There will be a brief interview, a post-mortem on the run, if you like. And assuming that I'm satisfied with what I hear, I will pay you your first stipend when we discuss your future options. Best of luck, Black Knight. We'll be watching. Your objective option to take the U-Bahn to Tor. The Turkish flashes your wry smile and winks at you knowingly. I told you you'd be busy, been quite busy of late. Oh, wanderer of the shadows, my street rats tell me the bit of business is picking up. Is that the woman who has taken over from Monica, Barakagazi? Who does it look like you rotunded the Pope up from the Vatican? Give her a soy calf, a big one, and put it on my account. I'd like the cut of her jib. A large soy calf? My, you are a generous one, George Smith. And so you can afford such a gesture? The fat man frowned. And a scone. I was going to say, and a scone as well. Nothing is too good for her. As you desire, O ample one, the Turk whispers. The man is a moron, but he eats his weight in balaclava and pastries. So am I to care. Now, what is it that you would like? Did your people ever look into the surveillance device on your data tab? The Turk beams to you. Indeed they did. Honoured Effendim. Indeed they did, and it was more fortunate that you discovered it. It seems that a group that wished to destabilize the bazaar to create a vacuum that they could fill with their political ambitions. But now they can't. Sounds like that won't happen now. But now they can't, you say? More like they won't. We trace the signal to its source. The issue has been resolved. Thanks for your help, Effendim. The bazaar's owners owes you. Right. So back out on the street. He's gone. Kima brightens up as you approach, grinning widely. There you are. Old Turg was just telling me you were around. I was wondering if you might be willing to trade a story or two. What are you looking for exactly? Alright, you first. What's your deal with you and Old Turg? Well, the whole ear and hands thing, plus the barrister junk. This isn't news, really. This isn't news, and really you ought to be quiet about that sort of thing. Sure thing, boss. But you know me by now. If there's anyone, there isn't really anyone in the bazaar who I shouldn't keep info from. It's you. She winks extravagantly. It's only because nobody could pull the wool over your eyes. So out with it. What's your deal? Well, alright. I suppose I heard a lot about you around the bazaar. It's only fair that you know about me. I never really wanted to go to school. Pretty much to being a street kid, as long as I can remember. And there was so much to learn from people outside of school that I never really bothered. It makes it difficult to get a job, so like all good street kids do, I chose a place to haunt with my friends and always hung out with. That was Old Tug's calf, and he was super nice about me and mine. I felt more comfortable with him than I ever did mine Veltir. Her eyes narrowed only for a brief moment at this word, and we talked a lot when I was waiting around for my friends. He must have been fairly comfortable with me too, otherwise he wouldn't have offered me a job. And really, what is it that you do? Well, that was nice of him. Technically, I'm a barista, but like I said, ears and hands. I run errands, gather gossip, sometimes I even make coffee. I much prefer his hookah options, though. Real coffee makes me feel paranoid. Speaking of which, I should probably get back to work. See you around. Okay. Interesting. He's back, but no dialogue options. Let's step into the office. Absinthe turns to face you. She takes a care to avoid her eyesight. Black Knight, hold a moment. I've called Algernon for you. She pauses, squinting at you. Her mouth dips into a frown. Curious. When I look at you, I see red. Red? She nods, then frowns slowly falls off her face. Her voice becomes so dreamy. Red splattered like paint across great metal arms. Small room drenched in it, with droplets oozing down from the ceiling. She offers you a curious smile. Pretty. That was an awfully strange way of opening conversation. Was it? Then I'm sorry. I didn't mean to offend. She looks away. I merely commented on what I see. I'm looking to buy some magic. Then you want to talk to Algernon. That's all I need to know. Well, be well, human. She's probably like a seer or something. Hello again. May I help you? I have a question if you don't mind. You are luck. I gave many answers. Algernon, what do you know about the Great Dragon Feuerschwinge? The elf ponders for a moment, twisting a ring on his right hand. The Feuerschwinge? That is a name that haven't been heard sometime for over 40 years. I believe, though I can't say for certain, time and I do not get along. She was amongst the first of the great dragons to awaken and the first to be killed by meta-humanity, or so the story goes. You don't buy that. I take nothing at face value. It's one of the great secrets of my longevity. History is a vision of the past events that people have decided to agree upon. Truth is something else. Absinthe interjects, a great dragon is not like other awakened creatures, whereas a basilisk is nothing more than a Komodo dragon whose genetic structure is mutated by magic's return. A great dragon is a creature of magic, a creature that has seen more than one cycle of the world. This is the sixth. When a great dragon falls, the sound resonates across time and space. Got it? You're skeptical. So, how does the story go? And therefore you would... I got it, you're skeptical. So how does the story go? And therefore you would know? Yeah. Let's go with that one. Firewings awakened along with Lil Lofweir Nobilair and Calistane around the first decade of the century. She was first seen over the Hazar Mountains, and after a long flight announced her presence, she began raining fire on every town and village she came across. Sounds like she woke up grumpy, you say. Angry, deranged, or something else. What motives are being such as her? No one knows. Firewing was never engaged in dialogue. German military forces are said to have killed her over the socks a year as she emerged. This after months of fire, devastation, terror. Her body was never recovered. I think she's still in the socks, so she could be out there. Whenever I hear the body was never recovered, I immediately think faked her own death. Beware of hollow vids, my friend. They will rot your brain. Nevertheless, it's possible that Firewing still exists. Dragons are cunning, quite cunning, and a sealed emergency zone is, by its very nature, sealed. We cannot know what happens inside there, certainly. One must wonder what effects the radiation from a nuclear meltdown might have had upon her. Any theories? That all you know? Let's go, any theories? Algernon crossed his arms across his chest. No, I do not deal in theories. Despite her death, there was a rumour that she had been seen over Iceland sometime after her fall, but it was never been confirmed. Some speculate that the viewer witnessed her astral form and that her body still lies in the socks. Now, is there anything else I can do for you? Have you ever heard of a gang called the Kreuzritters? Sadly, yes. They are quite active here in Berlin. They are fascist, plain and simple. They cling to Christian doctrine to justify their actions, but they kill their killers first and the religious fanatics second. Just what is the deal with religion here anyway? I've never paid much attention to myself. It's 2054. Haven't we gone past this kind of thing? Interesting. Just wanted to confirm someone's story, and that seems to confirm it. Thanks. Just what is the deal with religion here anyway? I've never paid much attention myself. Well, it's complicated. We stand in a country that clung to its religious heritage with considerable zeal. In much of the developed world, the awakening shifted public perceptions away from organised religion, but here in Germany it had the opposite effect. And while many developed nations have adopted spiritualism, some might call it paganism, as de facto belief system. The Germany of 2054 remains a Christian nation. Whatever that's a good thing or a bad one is open to interpretation. I do not stand on the matter either way. What do you believe? I am a simple traveller and seeker of truth. I believe what I directly observe, and I observe. His voice trails off, the corner of his mouth twitching up in a smile. Much. In my view, all belief systems are essentially different ways of interpreting the same thing. Magic is the underlying force of the universe. It is fundamental truth. Religion is a lens that society uses to focus the enormity of that truth into something that their people can understand. But what is the source of magic? What does that truth come from? So you think that the words religion are wrong then? Intriguing. You give me a lot to think about. But what is the source of the magic? Where does that truth come from? You ask questions that have no answer, young human. The elf strokes his beard, a contemplative look on his face. My experience has led me to suspect that magic is its own source. You may, of course, choose to believe differently. It matters little to me either way. Intriguing. Well, you've given me a lot to think about. With my pleasure. Do you need anything else? I don't need magical items. On second thought, I've got to go. Thank you. If I remember from the first game, I think he's either supposed to be a dragon or some kind of ascended being. I don't think he's supposed to be an elf of any kind, if we're being honest. Right, so outstanding contracts. We can take the optional U-Bahn tour. Let's pay the dancer a little bit of money to keep her going. Toss 5 into the bag. Okay, let's talk to Zach. Show me what you've got. What's the deal with the special concoctions? What up with the bandage on your hands? Snort to the Saltbuster Lottie waggles his bandaged hands in front of the OVs. Nothing much chummer, nothing much tussled with a spirit back in Amsterdam. You know, we elves are spiritual people. So I've heard. You fought a spirit with your bare hand. Oh, come off it. Elves are not, on a whole, any more or less magical than anyone else. I'm in a position to know. Yeah, if we had the elf race, that would help. You fought a spirit with your bare hands. I did say fought. Did I say fought? Winks at you, his smile twisting it up into an lecherous smirk. You wouldn't help notice that his eyelashes appeared dusted with glitter. No, chummer. Zack is a lover, not a fighter. We parted, then we tussled. Hard not to get banged up on the circumstances. Gotcha. What was that you were saying about elves? Elves, you know, people, my people, creatures of the spirits. We got their magic in the blood, everything we sling, spells or not. I'm telling you, I've talked to spirits all my life, and it has nothing to do with paying to totems or stupid spell books. Between you and me, my mojo is stronger than any corporate war wage mage. Take those rat scum bastards at Aztec Technologies. They cast spells all day and all night, right? Fire and this and lightning that. They're just tossing them all around like candy. Right, yep, that's what they do. Look, I don't mean to cut you off, but I've got things to do. Right. Well, me, I'm just doing my thing, not casting spells. I'm storing up my energy, saving it. Can you imagine how much magic I'd have? I don't think that's how it works, Zack. I've heard enough of this, let's talk business. Hey, that's great, Zack. Look, I've got to keep a story. I've got to go keep storing that energy. I don't think that's how it works, Zack, you say. Trust me, friend, I have secret knowledge. He slowly turns his head from side to side to give you a look at his upturned ears. Like I said, it's in the blood. You could examine his ears. Yeah, if he had biotech free. Fascinating. Well, I've got to go. Take care, Zack. All the different options. Let's talk to the doctor. Quack that he is. Welcome back. We didn't spend any medical supplies. I have a couple of advanced medikits on me, so that's okay. We can't buy any cyber gear. I would like to get some, though. But the drone was the real thing I needed at the time. Because if you look at here, with a yeah, you got a level 8 drone, which is pretty much one of the best drones you can get. And once we have that, we don't need to invest for a bit. We can put some more points into some other things. Right, which is always useful. Right, that's done. I'm just taking up all the dialogue options. This game has a dialogue system where it ticks over. Here we go. Have the cast, I need weapons, tell me what you got. I'm here to buy. Can you tell me about your inventory? Let's see what you got. So we can buy guns. Requires combat training. Need smart link. Smart link. See, he's got a shotgun. Yeah, this is the thing. Get an AK, grenade launchers, swords, all kind of stuff. Lots of grenades as well. Right. I've talked to everyone I can think of. Let's go to the safe house quickly. And take care of talking to these guys. Blitz, wide eyes when you see the drone that you're carrying. He looks anxious. Hey Chief, how's it going? I found this drone in the hotel vault. Does it belong to you? Yeah, Chief, that's mine. I don't want to say anything at the time, since it was my idea to have your loot the vote in the first place. Would have saved me some running around if you'd come clean. I forgot about it. Honestly, Chief, I just glad to see her up and running again. How'd you pull that off, by the way? Mixie fixed your drone. She says that it didn't listen to anyone but you, though. Score, so can I have it back? Nah, I think I gotta hold on to it, so it has no use to me anyway. Biz stubs a cigarette as he approaches. Black Knight, I hope to see you. Do you have another run lined up for us yet? I'm strapped for cash. Don't worry, we're done finishing up the job front. Amzel's been working overtime. We're doing fine on the job front. Why the hell are you strapped for cash? With the amount of work we've been doing, you should be rolling in New Yen. What can I say, Chief? He tries on a thoroughly uncommitting smile, but immediately seems to think better of it. The anxiety returns to his face. I have expensive taste. How expensive are we talking here? Even if you have a raging creme habit, I'd think you'd have at least some money left. Expensive, truth be told, I'm in debt. In debt to who, you say? He hesitates but responds. When he does, his voice carries an edge of annoyance. No offence, but it's a little too personal, Chief. My debts are none of your business. If some bookie sends his folks here looking for you, it's going to become my business, so talk now. You came to me begging for work, and then tell me it's none of my business. No, Blitz, you're telling me what you need the money, why you need the money. If some bookie sends his folks to look for you, it's going to become my business, so talk now. Blitz shakes his head in exasperation. Alright, fine. First off, you don't need to worry about anyone coming after me. My debts are to a bunch of old contacts. If I don't pay them, I'm going to lose them. And in this line of work, it's not smart to burn bridges. Second, before you ask, those debts are for services rendered. I was in a tight spot, I needed some help, and I threw around a lot of IOUs to get it. Third and finally, the trouble I was involved a girl. I'm telling you about this if you ask me to, but we're very, very deep in personal feelings territory, so if you don't want me to sub over my ex-girlfriend, you will drop the subject now. So it's up to you, Chief. Do you really want to go down this road, or shall we keep the relationship professional? You're clearly preoccupied with this, and our line of work preoccupied can get you killed, so spit it out and I will deal with it. This is a professional relationship, and the last thing I want is to hear you. This is a professional relationship, and the last thing I want to do is hear about your love life. This is a professional relationship, and the last thing I want to do is deal with this one. Well, at least I want to talk about it, so we're even. He offers you a lopsided grin. Now do me a favour and get out of here, okay? Let me smoke in peace. Has anything about the last run that you wanted to say? Never been a big fan of polyclubs in general, let alone a bunch of swine like the humanists. Now, an idea like Starlight could attract so many followers is beyond me. Oh, plus side, he's dead now, so that's good, he shrugs. Don't know, boss. If you were hoping for something more profound, I would take it to one of the others. Hey, Dante. You look down to see a pair of bright eyes set into a scruffy-looking face back up at you. Dante, Monka's old dog. Looking down into those brown eyes, you see intelligent sadness. Right, pet him. He barks happily. Let's talk to Dietrich. You really came through for me, boss. You ever need anything from me, anything at all, then you call on me. I'll come running. How's Alexander holding up, you ask? He's a good kid. That nephew of mine gave him some time and he'll sake Starla's programming. It might take a while, but he's adjusted to life here in the bazaar. In the meantime, I found a good home for him. Samuel's agreed to take him in. Is that wise? Samuel's employees have no love for humanies. Most of them don't like humans. Best thing for the kid would be to learn through immersion. If he strays from Samuel's group, he'll have no choice but to interact with metahumans. Soon enough, he'll learn. So he stays in Samuel's group. Yeah. He'll learn that there's no differences, they're no different than anyone else. First few days will be rough, no question, but he'll make it through and come out the other side, a better man for it. He seems like a tough kid. I don't doubt that you're right. Time will tell, I suppose. You've done your part, it's on him now, one way or the other. He nods grimly. Yeah, that's right, it is. And when push comes to shove, he'll do the right thing, just like he did with Setel. Now, on other things, remember what I was talking about back before we climbed into the van? Yeah, you were saying that the Dragon Slayer was happy, and you were given a reward. That's right. Thanks to our, let's not mince words, heroic actions back in that swine pit, the Dragon Slayer has seen fit to grant me his favour. He grins widens, and now and now I know what that means and what I can do with it. Well, don't keep me in suspense, you say. He gestures to the ground at his feet. This. As he watches, the spot that Dietrich is pointed at begins to glow. Lines of force spread out in a web, and a field of raw power suffuses your body. I have just torn open a channel between myself and the Dragon Slayer. That power that you feel is his power, pouring through the ether and into the spot. You are familiar with ley lines. It's the same basic concept. I consecrate a patch of ground, and as long as I'm standing in that spot, all my magic gets stronger. He crosses his arms over his chest. Not bad, huh? What about other mages or shamans? Couldn't someone else benefit from one of those channels too? No, Dietrich, it's not bad at all. I was kind of hoping for something a bit more bite to it, a fireball, a laser, something like that. Let's go with this one. What about other shamans and mages? He shrugs. Don't see why not. Let's say it's basically a ley line. As long as you're a Dragon Slayer's good side, I don't see why you couldn't use it. My idol, he's stingy with his gifts. Anyway, boss, I want to keep fiddling with this. Learn to properly control it, and I'm sure you've got things to do as well. You take care of whatever else needs doing, and by our next run I'll be ready to use it. Sounds good. Take care, Dietrich. You too, boss. Right, let's get in here. 2 unread messages. Hack statement, we need to talk. Black Knight, come to see me at your earliest compensation. This is a matter that we need to discuss. Okay. That's the doctor. Hack shipment. If you value new hardware coming into the bazaar, we need to talk. One of our weapon shipments was hijacked by a local gang. I promise you 500 new yen, and if you can recover the shipment, there's some new gear on the shelf. Come see me for details. Okay. Access to BBS. Post data for sale. Post humanist safe house list. Relevant keywords. Fred, Trans Highlander, best new deck. Just got one of them from a trans neuronet rep. Wants me to sell them in my store, so I took a puppy for a test drive. Signal quality is insane. Makes for a huge difference in comfort, decking fatigue. I can stay jacked in for hours and feel fine. Last session I had to set the timer just so I couldn't forget to eat. The space on this thing looks impressive, but I'm an alliance man. Does the comfort really make that much of a difference? My deck's a general beat. My deck's are general beaters anyway. Alliance? What are you doing with that thing? Playing video games? Any serious decker is going to require way more horsepower than that thing can push, even overclocked. Only a crappy decker blames their gear. I do just fine, thanks. Luminous, how much is Trans paying you to post this skis of theirs on here? Rightio. Help, drowning in junk messages. Oh, chummers, I could use your help. Every time I jerk Jack into the Matrix these days, I'm flooded with junk mail. There's so much of it, I can't see. Can anyone help me? Great, another newbie who thinks he's on tech support board. Hey, stuff it, I wouldn't ask, but I'm desperate. I can't deck like this. Alright, Thunder, calm down. It sounds like an ad bot is key to your deck. Been poking around anywhere sketchy lately? I don't need details, simply yes or no will do. No, Bandit, I haven't been anywhere like that. I swear, please help me. Whatever Betty gave his personal info to some scam site, I'll give you 10 to 1 odds. No, I don't think so. All I've done was make an online dating profile. Let me guess. Meet and mate? How did you guess? That's not a real dating site, Thunder. It's a place where desperate people go to get infected with malware. But what do I do? How do I make it stop? Don't know. Buy a new deck. Best of luck. Right. That's done. Check the status of the Alice Fund. 10,000. Okay. Okay. So we've got outstanding. Did we have something from the weapons bloke? Yeah, resting shipments, there we go. We're going to talk to Iger. As you approach, Iger turns to face you. Her rifle has been failed stripped and is lying in pieces on a sheet of butcher paper. Arranged in a neat row along the edge of the paper are bottles of copper solvent, bore cleaner, and lighter fluid. Our fearless leader returns. What do you need? You said you had concerns about me. I'd like you to voice them. She shrugs. All right, if that's what you want. You're green, Black Knight, too green to lead this team. That's my personal assessment, and yeah, I am concerned about this situation. You can alleviate the concerns by doing your job and doing it well. The only thing that will fix this is time. I'm not going to let history repeat itself, Black Knight. That won't happen on my watch. Iger, I thought we were past this. You said that you didn't blame me for Monica's death. Worry all you want. This team is going to be succeeding. We will without you. What history are you talking about, you say? Let's just say that I had bad luck with underexperienced teammates and leave it at that. So, was there something else you wanted to talk about, or can I just back to key my rifle? I'd like to hear about your time in the KSK. She shakes her head. No, I'm not having to say my war stories, Black Knight. Not with people who never served. What, you think I wouldn't understand? It doesn't have to be a war story. I just want a better idea who I'm running with. She looks at you in the eye for a moment, evaluating. Finally, she shrugs. All right, Black Knight, you win. I owe everything to my team in the KSK. From my street name on down. So tell me what you want to know and I'll see where this goes. Tell me how you got your street name. Back when I was basic training, a fellow recruit made a vulgar joke at my expense. He said I reminded him of the north face of the Eiger in the Bernese Alps. Huge and beautiful but dangerous to climb. His tone left little doubt as to what sort of clambering he had in mind. I think that was trying to proposition me in his clumsy way, poking me in the front of others recruits to try to provoke reaction. He shrugs. Anyway, he got one. I broke 3 of his ribs, and the name stuck. Serves him right. Igor regards you with a critical eye. You might actually mean that, but then you might just be trying to get on my good side. Anyone who uses a line that bad deserves to get smacked around a little. Don't flatter yourself. I don't care less whether you like me or not. Someone who uses a line that bad deserves to get smacked around a little. She nods. That for once we're in complete agreement, but there was more to it than that. As soon as that idiot made his little joke, it was a foregone conclusion that I'd be getting saddled with the nickname Eiger. My only choice in the matter was whether it happened under his terms or under mine. If I hadn't broken the twit's ribs, the name Eiger would have meant a difficult sexual conquest. A whole barrack full of recruits. That's what I would have been to them. From that point on, my own accomplishments be damned. Thanks to what I did, my new name meant the troll who didn't take shit from anyone. Instead, it's a name I'm proud to go by, and I'm hung on to it ever since. She pauses for a moment, and then looks you in the eyes. A word of advice to you, Black Knight. If anyone ever puts you in a position that he puts me into, if he demeans you in front of your unit, whatever his intent, the appropriate response is to put that person down hard. Out in the field, nothing will kill you faster than losing the respect of your team. By that logic, shouldn't I break your ribs after Monica's death? In my place, I would have. She looks at you up and down and praises you. Not that you'd succeed if you tried, but in terms of saving face, it would have done wonders. In all seriousness, Black Knight, I'm sorry if I put you in that position I shouldn't have, and I acknowledged that. Need anything else? Tell me about your team. She nods. Fair enough, I guess you've earned it. There were 8 of us, 2 commando squads, working together in a single unit. Smith and Lang were combat deckers, Wolf was our rigger and combat engineer, Wirtz handled demolitions, Braun was our medic, and the rest of us, Metzig, Kruger, and myself, were weapons experts. Our missions were extraterrestrial, technically legal, extraterritorial, technically legal, but important enough to justify the risks. We'd been sent across borders into Poland. The Russian mafia had set up a cottage industry and human trafficking all over the Ordex Nest line, and it was our job to disrupt it. Specialization security. That sounds more like a police action than a military operation. Wouldn't the JCJ usually handle that kind of thing? Technically, yes, but in the recent years, the Russian mob has become more and more heavily militarized. The brass decided that they posed enough danger to the region to qualify as a terrorist threat, and then brought them under our purview. Anyway, we had a good team experience, went through a lot together, and we chalked up a lot of kills. In our own way, I'd like to think we did some good. Who was in the command? Met guest best leader I ever had the pleasure of serving, her face clouds. He was a hell of a man. But he went down with the rest of the team, everyone but me. What happened to the team? Shake says no. No, that's one story I won't be telling. They died, that's all you need to know. Thank you, Igo. So was there something else you needed to talk about? Or can I get back to cleaning my rifle? Well, how do you any thoughts about the last run? After all the moral ambiguity that we'd been wading through, hitting humanists was incredibly satisfying. What they had planned, it makes my blood boil just thinking about it. The thought of Styr lying dead on the ground brings a smile to my face. I hope he enjoys rotting in hell. Radio. Let's do that, and then we'll talk to Glory. For the first time since you met her, Glory's expression seems to brighten in subtle, but it's fair, you saw of it. Black Knight, a pleasure, as always. Do you need anything? Do you need anything from me? How are you doing, Glory? Golden as always, Black Knight, no problems here. If I didn't know any better, I'd think you're warming up to me. She studies your face for a moment before responding. I suppose you might say that. Don't talk to many people, Black Knight. It just doesn't seem to be worth the effort. I don't really feel much anymore, not since. He caresses the chrome of her forearms with a hand made of articulated steel. This. If that's true, why are you still talking to me? I suppose because you've shown interest and because you haven't let me push you away. She locks eyes with you, expressing blank. I don't want to mislead you, Black Knight. I still don't feel anything. No warmth, no friendship, or even trust. But I appreciate the effort you're making. It's something new, and it's worth exploring. You said that things went... Let's see. You ready to tell me about the chrome and you're sporting? You said that things went bad when you turned 14. I'd like to keep talking about that. She stares at you, her face expressing this no, I'd rather not. Why not? Because I don't see a reason to. The memories are unpleasant and dragging them up does serve any real purpose. You're wrong about that. Last time we talked, it had an impact on you. That's a reason enough to continue. She pauses a moment to consider the words, a troubled look in her face. I suppose that's true. Feeling discomfort is better than feeling nothing at all. Alright, here's the deal, Black Knight. I'm going to talk, you listen. When I'm done, I'm done. No complaining, no arguments, and we'll see what happens. Deal? Deal. Right, a 1,000-meter stare creeps back into Glory's eyes. A moment later, she's locked away in her own head again, reliving memories that she's long since filed away. So a few days after my 30th birthday, I began to express magically. You're magically active. Sort of figured that you were burnt out the way you want nuts with this kind of chrome. You could have couldn't you hack in the straight mate? Go on, Glory. No, those seem a bit. Go on, Glory. There's another long pause and Glory becomes more animated. Anyway, I turned 15, I awakened. I didn't remember how my parents found out about it anymore. I think that my dad caught me playing with tiny kitty spirit I'd coaxed out of a pile of garbage, something like that. With everything that happened afterwards, those days are kind of a blur. What I do remember is my father responding to a revelation that his little girl was a witch, a hex. He beat the living shit out of me with his fists, and then the belt, then a claw hammer that he grabbed out of the toolbox. All the while my mum was screaming and flailing at him. She took a couple of licks with the hammer too. It's a miracle that you survived. It's very much like... I'd very much to murder your father. What about the neighbours? Did no one call the police or pro-securities? Let's go. It's a miracle you survived. I just lucky, I guess. So finally, after what felt like an hour, Dad stopped tuning me out with the hammer. I had broken ribs, busted arm. I couldn't see out of my left eye. My right side was covered with one giant bruise. I was bleeding all over the place, making a real mess of the carpet. The old bastard spat on me. His bleeding, crying daughter, he spat on me and told me I was the devil's whore. Then he kicked me out of the house. As I was crawling away, my father told me that if he or any of his brothers ever saw me again, they'd treat me as the Berlin chapter treats the enemies of God. If you're not familiar with how the Kreisritters here in Berlin deal with heretics, it's decidedly less pretty than what my dad and his buddies did to their victims. I got the hint, and next morning I hitched the ride out of Stuttgart. You were a human girl, presumably with ID. Why didn't you go to hospital? Oh, I did, but not in Stuttgart. I went to a local hospital with the kind of injuries that Dad gave me. It'd be questions, and I wouldn't afford to stay in town any longer than I had to. Even if my dad wound up getting arrested for beating me, the rest of the local Kreisritters would have found me. I would have wound up skinned alive and thrown into the Nectar. I wound up in Tübingen. I figured it'd be a safer place to find medical attention than maybe call home. Not far from Stuttgart, but it was a huge student community that I figured I could blend into, and the university there had a decent magic department. My ride dropped me off at the university hospital and they patched me up pretty good. I had some questions for me about how I got beaten, but I lied and told them I'd been mugged, which played nicely into my complete lack of cash credit and identification. Glory pauses for a moment and looks down at the floor, her eyes fixed on you. She visibly tense. We're going fast forward through the next few years. I was a kid on the street. I got by as best I could, doing whatever I had to do. The rest we can clear up to imagination. Good. You did what you had to do. I'm no stranger to that myself. I don't think anyone working in the shadows is. She nods. I figured you understand. So anyway, I lived on the street for a few years, got used to being hungry all the time, got used to getting rained on, got by. I was painfully aware that I had magical talent, but without any kind of training or guidance, I didn't really know how to use or develop them. Truth be told, they scared me, so I more or less ignored them. So it just sort of went like that until a few days after my 70th birthday when I met Marta, and everything changed. Marta was a sweet girl. I first took her for a street kid like me. Her clothing was a little ratty and she seemed comfortable being near me, but she also looked well fed and happy. And those are two things that I hadn't been in years. We started hanging out, and before I knew what was happening, I was in love. There was a genuine attraction between Marta and me, I think. I also think that a lot of my affection for her came from the fact that she's the first person in years to give a damn about me. She cared and I loved her for that. Glory pauses. She looked flustered and her composure cracked. Keep going, Glory. She stared at you for a beat, then nods. A few ragged-breasted ladies. She continues. Marta told me about a place where she'd be hanging out. She invited me to join her there. It was called Faststelle, the Fireplace, and it was a sort of a commune for depossessed youth. It turns out a lot of the street kids I'd known over the years had moved there. The way that they disappeared, I'd assumed they'd been kidnapped or killed or had gone back to their parents. But there they were. I remember being kind of angry about it, like, how did everyone get the memo about this but me? Marta calmed me down. She was good at helping me work through my feelings. I wound up following her to Faststelle. To a street kid, it was basically paradise. The owner, a guy named Harrow, had set up a little farm just outside of Tübingen in the Strumberer forest. The Strumberer is officially a nature park, but not many people go there nowadays. Too much fear of paranormal animals, I guess. Anyway, park or not, it was plenty big enough for us to hide in. It was safe and pretty, and the farm was well stocked with food. Most importantly, Faststelle gave us a sense of community and stability that we never had on the street, and we loved Harrow for it. He became like a surrogate father to us. Glory pauses again, and you recognise the distinctive flush in her cheeks. She seemed to have come out of her reverie once again. That's enough for now. I need to process all of this, and I don't want to continue until I've had a chance to do that. I know that all that happened years ago, but I guess it's still pretty raw to me. Sorry, I've got to ask you to give me some space for a while. She turns away, and the frost begins to creep back into her voice. We can back up later. We've got a job to prepare for. Black and I don't have any more time to talk. Hit me up. Okay. Should have asked about the other stuff beforehand. Well. Alas. But this is a good place to put a cut in, folks. We'll put a cut in here, and then we'll talk to our contact, to Paul. And I shall see you all again next time. I've been Cornish-knight. This has been Dragonfall, Shadowrun Dragonfall. Goodbye.